What's going on, guys? This is Snoob603, and this is part 2 in my follow-up series to my Battlefield 4 First Impressions video that I did on the day of release. In that video, I gave the game a glowing review because at the time that I played it, I just didn't see any of the issues that most people see today. What I want to do with this series is go over everything again and give a more in-depth, up-to-date, all-inclusive review of Battlefield 4 based on my 100 plus hours of game experience. With this second video, I'm going to cover everything regarding the maps, such as the overall design or looks, the execution of game modes, and Levolution. I'll start this one off going over the map designs, meaning how they look and whatnot. The big thing that they touted with Battlefield 4 when information was first coming out was the newly updated Frostbite 3 engine. Now, I wasn't exactly sure what that was going to mean for us until I got to see some game footage, and more importantly, when I actually got to play the game for myself. Even though we're several months past the release day, I'm still amazed at the beauty and detail of the maps in Battlefield 4. I know there are a lot of issues with this game, but I always look past them when I'm playing on maps such as Gulmud Railway or Siege of Shanghai before the tower is taken down, just to name a few. The level of detail to the playable area, and even more so the very outer edges of the visible map, is astounding. I feel like there's a really good balance of having enough things on the map to act as cover without overdoing it so that everything looks really cluttered. Another thing I like are the explosive anythings all over the map, such as the oil tankers. Although most of the time I'm pissed off at them because I'm getting killed by them, but that's due to my own lack of awareness. I like how those things, as well as the fire extinguishers that you can shoot to kind of create a smoke screen, are all over the place. I'll give DICE a 5 out of 5 on map design as far as fashion or looks go. Seriously, these maps are nothing short of beautiful at times when you get to sit on a high point playing on Ultra and just take in all the detail. Next up, let's talk about the different game modes and how the maps are specifically designed for them. I'll start on a positive note and say that Conquest is very enjoyable. I know that Conquest is basically Battlefield's baby. The game mode allows you to play in any of the 3 ways possible, whether that's infantry, in ground vehicles, or in the air. Basically anything that you can do in Battlefield, you can accomplish while playing Conquest. I guess you could say it's actually pretty hard to fuck up the map designs for it, but I am happy with how they've done Conquest across the board. All of the maps are enjoyable, and while I did get burned out a little bit from playing it too much early on, I can still hop on and enjoy it. Team Deathmatch and Domination are pretty straightforward and don't need much said. With Domination, I enjoyed it on every map with the exception of Hide and Resort. Whoever was responsible for the design of that map, I hope they're never allowed to design another map for FPS ever again. Now to me, Obliteration is an awesome game mode and arguably the best one to choose from. From a player standpoint, it's a ton of fun if the teams are balanced, and you get a really long, drawn-out, back-and-forth battle from start to finish. As a content producer, a small part of me hates how long each game can last. Now the reason for that is I don't have a ton of time to game like I used to, which I mentioned quite a bit, so to lose like 30 minutes of my time in a game that we ultimately may lose, as a content producer, that really hurts. Now I don't mind the loss most of the time, but the lost time spent during that loss is actually what kills me, which is why I tend to avoid Obliteration unless I have a full squad of friends to play with. It is actually a really fun game mode, and me personally, I think it's the most enjoyable of the bunch. You get to use all kinds of vehicles, or just play as infantry, but the infantry battles to get to the bomb, or get the bomb armed, tend to be incredible. Now, to flip the coin, we'll look at the abomination that is Rush and Defuse. Rush is bad. It's just bad. If you told me that the guy that designed Domination or Hide and Resort was responsible for all the Rush maps, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. I can get in there and have fun with a full squad, but it's actually pretty embarrassing to see just how bad the map designs are for Rush. Some of the MCOM locations, most notable the first set on Altai Range, are complete head-scratchers. For the life of me, I will never understand how they played that and felt it was even remotely balanced, and let it go through as it is. It's just one example of many, but I feel that Rush was a strong point in Battlefield 3, but was barely given the time of day when Battlefield 4 was being developed. As for Defuse, this was, without a doubt, the most disappointing game mode that I think I have ever personally played in any game ever. I really wish I was exaggerating to say that, but seriously, I'm not. Now granted, I don't have nearly as much game experience as other people out there, but for me personally, I think it's that bad. Keep in mind, I used to be a die-hard Call of Duty fan, and I lived for Search and Destroy. That was my baby, my bread and butter game mode. That was what I spent all my time playing. When I heard that DICE was basically bringing that game mode to Battlefield 4, I was ecstatic. I always felt that a game mode like that would work extremely well within Battlefield. Then the game came out, and I finally got to play it, and it was like I was playing something that was based on the half-formed idea that a monkey came up while tripping on acid. Actually, no, I take that back. A game mode designed in the half-formed idea that a monkey came up with while tripping on acid would be 10 times better than whatever this shit is that they call Defuse. Now, to be fair, they did fix a lot of the issues with this game mode since launch, but it is still a nightmare of a game mode in my opinion, and it isn't as enjoyable as any COD version of this game mode that I've played in the past. The idea was there, but I feel that this needed several more months to be realized into whatever idea they had for it. Overall, for map design and execution for game modes, I'm giving DICE a 3 out of 5. It's pretty bad that they took away a functioning game mode in Squad Rush, which was good for esports as well, and replaced it with something unplayable. To top it all off, they destroyed Rush, which used to be a great go-to game mode in Battlefield 3. They kind of make up for this with Obliteration, but we shouldn't have had to lose a great game mode that was enjoyed by many people just to bring in another game mode. Rush should still be as good as it was before. I'll wrap it all up with a very concise overview of my thoughts on Evolution. When I first heard about what exactly we'd be getting with Evolution Battlefield 4, my exact words were, "I'm okay with this so long as it doesn't take away from the overall quality of the game." Well, for the most part, it didn't take away from the quality of the game, if you ignore Siege of Shanghai causing a 50% crash rate for anyone playing on that map when the tower came down. So, for the most part, while the idea of Evolution is kind of cool, I would honestly rather not have it. With Siege, the maps look ugly as sin when the tower comes down. On Flood Zone, it could completely change the dynamic of the game if they can actually make it so no more vehicles spawned in and we got a lot more boats to use. But even still, that's not really the case. With those tall buildings, it kind of renders those boats pretty damn useless. So to me, the idea wasn't really fully realized to its full potential on some maps, and the overall feeling of it is rather blah. Plus, the Levolution on Zavad and Land King Dam are so underwhelming, it makes me wonder why they even bothered. Overall, I'll give DICE a 3 out of 5 for the execution or implementation of Levolution. The whole concept is kind of cool, but half of the maps feature very underwhelming Levolution maps, and the novelty of it wore off very fast. So overall, when you think about the 3 different things that I took and broke down a little bit for this review, if you average out all the scores, I actually end up giving DICE a pretty decent review score of a 3.67 out of 5. But alright guys, that's going to wrap up this second part of my Battlefield 4 100-hour review. As of now, the next video will be the final one to wrap this all up and give my overall review and rating of Battlefield 4. The only thing I don't have planned to discuss is the vehicles. I could throw that in for a part 3, but I'm not exactly sure how I want to go about tackling it, because I'm not exactly sure how extensive I can make that conversation, and DICE has already mentioned that there is a huge vehicle patch incoming that's going to render that whole conversation pretty useless. Now I know that it's not out yet, but I know it's coming up rather soon, so let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see. If there's some other aspect or viewpoint you'd like me to cover in that video, please let me know in the comments below as well. If there's a lot of stuff worthy of covering, I will definitely make that third video before the final review. Other than that, please tell me what you think regarding everything I've covered in this particular video, as I want to hear your opinions as well. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you guys in the next video.